Here I will try to sketch out the political and defense map as I see it and focus on the achievements and challenges that face us. A view of the strategic landscape shows that the skies are clouding over what is known as the Arab Spring. There's good news and bad news. The good news is that Israel is the strongest country in the nation, both militarily and strategically, and it will continue to be so in the visible future in face of the challenges as they are today, as long as we are able to properly understand the resources that we can and must invest in defense so that it will be. The bad news is that not our enemies know that we are the strongest in the region, and consequently there will not be a dull moment. The upheaval that has visited the entire Arab world from Marrakesh to Bangladesh has created instability and uncertainty with a possibility of sharp turning points. Old tyrannies have fallen like dominoes around us, and a new wind is blowing in Arab lands. In the long term, perhaps this is a very important wind, and it may be inspiring too. But in the short term and the mid-term, it awakens mainly quite a lot of concern. The Arab Spring brings with it great challenges both for the state of Israel and the free world and its leader, still the United States. As always with the challenges also come opportunities, and we must carefully distinguish between the two. In Egypt, the Islamists have won a landslide victory in the elections, and they will lead the next government in a situation where there are dangers. I hope and believe that the president that will be elected and the Egyptian army will serve as a counterweight to balance it, and the needs of diplomacy, and especially the Egyptian economy, will require any government that rises to respect the fabric of international treaties and agreements between Egypt and the world, including the peace agreement with Israel. In Syria, we are seeing an escalation in Assad's war of survival against the rebels. Today, it is clearer than ever that Assad's regime, or the family of Assad that has been going on for more than 40 years, is about to end. The pictures are difficult to see, and it's difficult to anticipate what will occur. We are following the possibility, especially of efforts to transfer advanced weapons systems that could upset the delicate balance in Lebanon to the hands of Hezbollah. At the same time, on the way to his fall, we can expect a lot of surprises on the way, and the fall of the Assad family will be a painful blow to the radical axis with Iran at its center. It would also weaken Hezbollah and will prevent the Iranians from their main foothold, I would say almost the only foothold they had in the Arab world. Turkey. Turkey is a central pillar in the area and a natural counterweight to the hegemonist aspirations of Iran. We believe that we must not give up. We must re-examine ways to allay the tension with Turkey, even if it is not possible in the foreseeable future to restore the intimate relations that existed in the past. In the Palestinian arena, the situation is quieter than ever. An outstanding outcome of the work of the Shin Bet and the IDF and the Palestinian leadership. But under the surface is the potential for a deadlock And we, in this deadlock, have no interest. We have no interest in such a deadlock. No one can promise us a breakthrough in the negotiations, but we must act in that direction so that if there is a chance, it will be explored. And if there is the possibility of a breakthrough, it will break through. And we must be willing to make decisions that will breathe hope into the process with the Palestinians while meticulously maintaining the political and security interests of the State of Israel. And this is a difficult process. And I call here upon the Palestinian leadership, Abu Mazen and Salam Fayyad, to return to the negotiating table with no preconditions, to seriously and courageously engage in discussions and to make decisions and not miss the boat. If you do that, you will find us willing to make decisions. The alternatives are much worse for both sides, and I will not elaborate on that today. For Israel, in any case, the Lebanese government is the one we view as being responsible for whatever comes out of its territory or what occurs inside its territory, and it will bear that responsibility. We only want quiet on the northern front, but should there be escalation, we will not hesitate to harm, subject to international law, the national infrastructures in Lebanon with all necessary strength. In Gaza, Hamas remembers well what happened in Operation Cast Lead, but it too is continuing to arm. It has, and the other organizations have, about 8,000 rockets, some of which at this stage, a very small part, can reach the Tel Aviv area. The easy trigger finger in the hands of the rebel groups in Sinai create an inherent instability. The possibility of a deterioration of a confrontation with Hamas exists and cannot be ignored. And the home base of Hamas in Syria has been lost, and they are looking for an alternative base somewhere in the Middle East. And where the matter of the peace agreement among the Palestinians, I believe that the common denominator between Hamas and Fatah is far greater than is generally thought. And I believe that these are two branches of the same national movement, even if they have differences in their goals and distinctions. Being in power will make Hamas look more moderate in its views, and reality could strengthen developments that could lead Hamas and Fatah to the path of reconciliation and compromise between them. Israel cannot accept a government with the participation of Hamas if Hamas does not accept the conditions of the quartet, all three conditions, and will dismantle the terrorist infrastructure in Gaza. In other words, if Hamas does not stop being Hamas. Today, after the Amano report a few months ago, and unlike the situation after the NIE report from 2007, the world today has no doubt regarding the existence of a militarily nuclear Iranian plan. Today, unlike in the past, the world has no doubt that the Iranian military nuclear program is slowly but surely reaching the final stages and will enter the immunity stage, from which point forward the Iranian regime will be able to complete the program without any effective intervention and at its convenience. And we need to understand that Khamenei is no less clever than we are. The separating line may pass through the place where the decision is made by the Iranians to violate the NPT and to move nuclear weapons in this direction, or to move in the direction where the defense and redundancy will turn it impractical to attack. Today, unlike the past, no one doubts the intolerable danger of a nuclearized Iran to the future of the Middle East, the safety of and security of the State of Israel, and the economic and defense security of the entire world. Today, unlike in the past, there is a global understanding that it is crucial to stop Iran from becoming nuclearized, and that no options should be taken off the table. The sanctions that have recently been authorized are a step in the right direction, and they must be intensified accordingly until the goal is attained, if it is attained, to stop the program. Today, unlike in the past, there is an extensive global understanding that if the sanctions do not achieve the desired result of stopping the military nuclearization program, action must also be considered. Those who warned in the past that we did not understand there were those who not understand the full implications of this program, and that is not the situation. In my long experience, there has never been in the life of the State of Israel a subject, not in making peace with the Egypts or with the Jordanians, and not in making war, not in 2006 and not in 67 and not in 73, has there been a subject of greater national defense importance that has been discussed for so many hours with the participation of all the parties that need to be involved, with directness and frankness that have not always characterized the discourse in the past, I'm sorry to say, in the examples that I mentioned, deserves. Many experts in the world, not only here, believe that refraining from action will necessarily mean a nuclearized Iran, and dealing with a nuclearized Iran will be far more complex, far more dangerous, and far more expensive in blood and money than stopping it today. In other words, those who say, in English, later, may find that later is too late. Our challenge is to continue to help creating a global vector of activity to stop the nuclear program, and without taking off the table any of the other options. We must do so with responsibility, with security, with confidence, with political wisdom, while understanding the price of all the alternatives that are available. Any discussion beyond that at this stage would be irresponsible and sometimes harmful to the security of the state. The social process which swept through the streets of Israel in the last summer is an important event and a moving event unlike anything we have seen for many years. The protest brought to the surface a unique opportunity to change the priorities and to create a new discourse, a new deal in Israeli society between the government and the public, an opportunity for correction and tikkun in the Jewish sense of subjects that have been neglected for many years, and now the conditions have ripened to place them at the center of the public discourse and the agenda of the government. And the protest of the Israeli mainstream, those people whose work every day represents the real backbone of Israeli society, of its economy and its growth. They are the ones who are fulfilling their civilian duties by serving in the army, paying taxes, serving in the reserves. They are the critical mass in the employment market, in contribution to society and the economy, and they demand true equality in return, a sense of partnership, and an equal sharing of the burden. I am emphasizing this because sometimes if it seems that this protest has dwindled, it will return and demand that the basic contract between the government and its people be upheld.